watching
Ask the Instructor every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to cover the more technical side of the real estate industry. And today we're talking about some technical things that are going to either make or break your real estate business. Because what happens is a lot of people end up getting a bad start in real estate, and it just leaves a bad taste in their mouth, and it's not fun when you're struggling. Struggling isn't fun. It's going to be part of it. You're going to be struggling definitely in the beginning, but let's see how we could minimize that. When you know what it is that you're doing, that's where you have the best chance of really kind of minimizing this. So the first tip that I have to make sure that you can make a good transition into the real estate industry, starting a new career, because starting any career, anything that's new, it's typically exciting. It's something new, something to get excited about. And that's what real estate should be. It should definitely be exciting because the sky's the limit. Real estate could turn you into a multi-millionaire, maybe even a multi-billionaire. So that's exciting. Should be excited about it. It's a long way to get there, especially when you're first starting out, but it's completely possible. And now, what are these first steps? And now, the first thing I want to kind of emphasize, this is going to be something we're going to talk about again, is you're going to make mistakes in this process. There's going to be things that don't always go as planned. There's going to be things where you're going to have to do course corrections and go back and fix things and so on and so forth. But ultimately, it's always a learning experience. So that's the first one I want to touch on. The one that's probably the most important out of everything is your training. You want to find good training. Now, why is this number one? Why is this the most important thing? Make sure we can move Instagram so they're able to see over here. Actually, that's not backwards. That might just be backwards on there. So, number one, finding good training. Why is this so important? Why is it so important to have good training? Well, real estate is a tried and true industry. And yes, there are new things that work, but there's a lot of things that are already figured out. Real estate has been around since a very long time. I'll have to find out what that exact date is on the kind of the beginnings and the origins of real estate, but it's been around for a very long time. So there's a lot of things that are figured out. I mean, the open house concept, that's a concept that's over 100 years old, open houses. So there's a lot of this stuff that's been figured out. A lot of stuff that you don't have to go through and figure out how to do it that way that's already figured out. And now training is how you're able to kind of overcome this and initially figure out it helps you know what it is that you don't know that's already known by real estate professionals, if that makes any sense. There's this information known in the real estate industry. You're new to the real estate industry. You want to be part of the real estate industry. You have to take in this knowledge and digest this knowledge and implement it into your business. There's no need to try to figure out the best way to hold an open house, the best way to figure out the best way to go on a listing appointment, to figure out the best way to show properties. There's no need for you to be the guinea pig in all of this here, because you could do that. You could go through and do trial and error and trial and error and trial and error and trial and error and go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times of trying different things until you find something that works and that goes smoothly. Or you can invest a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, and probably a little bit of money. Most good trainings are going to cost money. There's a lot of training available for free, and this is available for free on YouTube, and YouTube is a great resource for a lot of this stuff. But, I mean, sometimes when you need more of a curriculum and something more where it's dialed into, hey, these are the things that you need to know, master these things, and you will be successful, that's where that makes sense to pay for that type of training. Your broker may be offering training. And that's where, okay, we've found training, but now we need to see, okay, is it good training? Is this training that's going to actually help me? Is this training that I'm going to be able to attend? Maybe when you're choosing your broker, you're interviewing different brokers, and the broker may be having the best training in the entire area that you're looking at, the best training that you've seen so far. Maybe that broker only has training at 9 a.m. in the morning, and you've got a second job at 9 a.m. in the morning, so that would never work for you. So you have to find good training that's going to really kind of help show you these things that are already known, so you can implement those into your business. So that's tip number one, finding good training. Now, tip number two. This kind of goes along with tip number one. Number one is finding good training. And typically when I mention training, there's a lot of forms of training, but typically when I mention training, you're maybe thinking of sitting in a class with others, or maybe doing some sort of online course or that type of training, which that's, again, typically what comes to mind. But there's also the one-on-one, the personalized training. And that's where tip number two comes into play. Find a mentor. Because a mentor, fix that so it looks like I know how to spell. There we go. I do know how to spell, it's just I have terrible handwriting. So finding a mentor, this is where you're able to take what you're learning in the trainings and now talk about it with your mentor to find out to make sure to hold you accountable. The mentor really, this isn't one person that's the end all be all to do everything, to show you everything, to train you on everything. If you're relying on one person for your success, that's not good. To put it in other terms, you shouldn't rely on just one person. You shouldn't just have one person, one bottleneck being your make it or break it for your success. And that's why this is second to number one, find a good training. Because if you've got good training, you don't need a mentor to be successful in real estate. The mentor is just going to make this easier for you. They're there to help you to maybe fill in some of these gaps that the trainings leave out, where there's a disconnect of something going on, or maybe when you have something in particular you need to ask about. That's where the mentor comes into play with all this here. Again, the mentor isn't meant to be your trainer, your sole person that's the one person that makes or breaks your success. That's what the training is for. And the traditional classes or even online courses or whatever training programs it may be, that's number one. That's the number one most crucial. If I were to tell you just one tip to be successful in real estate, you're starting a real estate career, and one thing I could tell you, find good training. That's number one, because you need to. You don't know what you don't know, so you have to go out there and find out this information that the real estate industry has. So you could go in there and you don't have to go through the trial and error, going through these processes of showing homes, of going on listing appointments, of holding open houses, and all this other stuff that you're not 100% familiar how to do yet. You could go and try to figure it out. You say, oh, open a house. Yeah, I've got a house, open up the door, wait for people to come in. How hard can that be? Well, there's a lot of different moving parts to that. And yes, you could do it that way, but are you going to get the biggest turnout? Or are you going to get the most return on your time and investment that you're spending in that open house? And the answer is no. You could eventually figure out these things over time, but taking a training on open houses, for example, is going to help quickly elevate you to the knowledge of people that are experts at holding open houses. And when you're finding, again, that keyword here is good training, that automatically puts your knowledge and your mindset at the same level as the experts that are disseminating that training. So that's number one. Number one, find good training, most important. Number two, find a mentor. Find somebody who could help fill in these blanks between the trainings, help connect the dots with you in these trainings. Maybe somebody that you're going to shadow and watch what it is that they do. Maybe accompany them on some listing appointments or whatever that may be, or on showing buyers homes, accompanying them that and kind of shadowing them. That's maybe another time where a mentor, that's their purpose and their role of what they're doing. Again, the mentor isn't meant to be your sole source of training. And there's this mentor term could be used in a lot. Maybe there's someone you've never met before that's your mentor. Maybe I'm your mentor. Maybe there's all kinds of different definitions of mentor. When I use the word mentor here, I mean a personal mentor, somebody that you're actually able to talk to have a two-way communication with. Now, this doesn't, again, have to be somebody that you're spending every waking moment with, but when you have a question and you're not able to connect those dots yourself, that's where your mentor is there to maybe go over these things. Or maybe when you're coming up with some sort of advertisement. Maybe you took a training on advertising, on how to send out direct mail advertising. You took a training on that and you came up with your direct mail advertising, and you want to just run the plan by your mentor before you pull the trigger and go spend money and time sending out that mailing. So that's what I mean when I say finding a mentor. And this doesn't even have to be somebody that, is ideally maybe they're some sort of superstar, or at least a superstar from your perspective, somebody who's doing better than you, who has more knowledge and more experience and knows what they're doing. But it doesn't have to be the best of the best. That's probably always a good thing, the better they are. But it should be somebody that you want to emulate, that if you were that person, if you'd be okay trading places with that person. That's who you should look at when you're determining how to find who to use as a mentor. Would you be okay trading places with them? Because there may be somebody that's successful, but it might not be somebody that you want to trade places with. If you wouldn't want to trade places with them, you don't want to emulate that person. You want to emulate somebody that you'd be okay, that you'd want to, that you'd desire to trade places with. You say, oh yeah, not only maybe your big thing is, work-life balance, that type of stuff, that yeah, you want to make some money in real estate, but you don't want to be super rich. You just want to be able to have a good balance of things, have enough money to be comfortable, and then just have a maybe time to spend with your family and things like that. At the same time, and neither one of these two is wrong, they just have different priorities. There might be somebody who wants to be super rich, who wants to be the top agent in their area, and they eat, sleep, and breathe real estate. And that's a great mentor for people who want to emulate that. But for somebody that doesn't want to eat, sleep, and breathe real estate and spend 24/7 dealing real estate, that's not the type of person it is that you want to model your business after. Because it's different ways of doing things. So you want to find somebody that again, is somebody you wouldn't mind trading places with, that you would want to trade places with. That's who you want to use as a mentor. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking more about the tips for new real estate agents. So stick with us. I'm John Christopher. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Christmo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. If you're interested in starting or enhancing your real estate career, make sure you give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. If you guys have questions on any of the topics that we're talking about today, maybe you're thinking about starting a career in real estate and you're looking for some new tips here, or maybe you've just gotten your license, or maybe you got your license but you never went out and activated with a broker to go practice real estate, or whatever that may be, we're here to help you. We're here to help make this process a smooth transition, to go over these basic things it is that you need to know when starting a real estate career. And again, if you have questions on any of this stuff, throw that in the comments section on Facebook, YouTube, wherever it is that you guys are watching from, because I'd love to answer those for you live on the air here. Shout out to Urima for tuning in, saying great advice. Thank you. Urima, she's been in the real estate business for a while, know her personally, so she's also a good person to talk to about real estate. But let's talk about some more of these tips that we've got here for new real estate agents. Again, first one, find good training. That's number one most important priority. You're going into this unknown, this uncharted territory, and it's your job, it's your responsibility, it's your duty, it's your obligation to learn what it is that you don't know that you need to know to be successful. Don't just leave this to trial and error and go see if something works and no, it didn't. Okay, well, let's try it this way, because that leads to burnout very quickly. You feel like you're not pushing yourself forward, and that's what happens when you start feeling burnt out. And I'm a testament to this myself. I felt burnt out before, but when I feel like I'm growing myself and I'm pushing myself forward and I'm growing my businesses and I'm pushing them forward, I don't feel burnt out. I could be working 30 days straight. I have done that before and not feel burnt out after that. I'm not talking about, working like an hour, and I'm talking about working before the sun up to after the sun down, 30 days straight, not feel burnt out. And that's possible when you feel like you're growing. When you feel like you're growing and you're seeing a return on your time and money and investment that you're receiving, then you don't get burnt out, or at least not as easily. Everyone's different with that. But finding the good training is so important because that helps you understand what it is that you don't know. Now, second, finding a mentor. This is somebody, a personal mentor, somebody you're able to talk to and communicate with, that you wouldn't mind trading places with, that you desire to trade places with, that you respect the way that they run their business and that's the way you want to run your business. That's the type of mentor it is that you want to look for. The third tip, to throw number 3 up here on the screen, and there's so many of them, it's kind of hard to put these in a particular order, so maybe some of these are. Number 1 is definitely, that we put a lot of thought behind this. Number 1 is good training. That's most important out of everything. The third tip I would recommend is, and there's some of them that I want to save for a little bit later. Stay focused. Staying focused. And this is a problem that plagues so many agents, and that's why this makes the top 3. There are a couple contenders I wanted to throw up in the top 3, but staying focused is one of them. Now, when I say stay focused, this seems like an obvious thing. This seems like something, oh yeah, of course just stay focused. If you're not focused, how are you going to, of course, that makes sense. But it's one thing to know to stay focused. It's another thing to actually stay focused. And what are you staying focused on? Well, staying focused on my real estate business, right? Yes, but staying focused on activities that actually generate income. Your first priority when you have your real estate license is generating income. Any business, your number 1 priority is generating income. First and foremost, that's the number 1. That's why in accounting statements, the first line in accounting statements is the revenue, is the money coming in. That's the number 1 most important. Everything else is secondary to the revenue that's coming in. So staying focused. Now, let me give you some examples here to kind of enlighten you on some of the things that commonly distract new agents. So the things that are going to actually generate revenue, one of the best things you could do as a brand new agent is prospecting, whether that's door knocking, holding open houses, cold calling, anything that you're really not spending money for to advertise, that the advertising and marketing that's different than prospecting. Prospecting is our direct form of selling. So if you don't have money to advertise and you need money coming in right now, that's where prospecting comes in. And if you know that and you're saying, okay, I'm going to do that to get some business, but at the same time, maybe you're updating you're creating your Facebook page for yourself as a realtor. And that's where I want to tie in number 4. And this kind of goes hand in hand with stay focused. It's prioritize. So both these kind of go together, and really they could kind of go one after another. This was another one I wanted to kind of throw up in the top 3, but again, these are kind of loosely defined for the order. They're really all important. There shouldn't be any that you take for granted here. But you need to prioritize what it is that you actually have to do that's going to actually lead to money, that's going to actually lead to a commission check, that's going to actually lead to getting paid. Because as much as you maybe wanted to get into real estate to truly and genuinely help others, unless money isn't an object for you and you're planning on working in the real estate business for free, which you're probably not. Even if money isn't an object, you're probably doing this to generate money. And even if you don't care about the money, you need the money to pay for the expenses that you have just to be operating in this business. So that again, that's the number 1 priority. Then you always have to keep that in mind. Remember that revenue, that money coming in is always the number 1 priority. That's first and foremost, and everything else comes secondary to that. Now, the other things like setting up a Facebook page for yourself as a realtor, one of the business pages, or maybe setting up a business Twitter or a LinkedIn or all these different social media outlets or YouTube or any of that stuff, those are all good. Those are all good things that can help you generate business. But just because you set up a business page on some social media site, or maybe you set up a business page on all the social media sites, that's not going to generate you any business today. And it's going to take some time. You'll probably, over your career, get a couple of deals organically just from having these set up. But it's really when you're throwing extra marketing behind them and all that actually becomes useful. But that's not something that you need to worry about as a brand new agent. We did another segment of State of Real Estate on first 30 days as an agent. And the 3 things we talk about that are you as on your first 30 days is having business cards, having some sort of name tag, and having a professional photo. Those are really your 3 expenses it is that you need to worry about actually shelling out money for. Because when you are doing these direct selling, the prospecting, going door knocking or something like that, or you're just meeting people out on the streets, you definitely want to have a business card to hand them. And so that's where you need the photo and the business card. So those are necessary expenses. But all the other type of marketing stuff, hey, look, I love marketing. But marketing has its place. Now, as you grow your business, marketing is a very large part of the real estate business. But when you're first starting out, even marketing isn't going to get you business today. Prospecting is what gets you business today. Marketing is what gets you business tomorrow. So it's important to prioritize these things. And that's leads me to tip number 5, and that's reverse engineer the sales process. So when I say reverse engineer the sales process, okay, you're at closing. What happens immediately before closing? If you don't know what happens immediately before closing, that's where, again, and the only one that's got any kind of priority over any of these here is number 1, finding good training. That's the most important out of any of these here, because that's going to help you fill in these gaps. And then for the things that still aren't filled in, that's where your mentor kind of comes in. Hey, what does happen before a closing? What activity do you have to end up having a closing? Well, that's a contract. So again, we're reverse engineering. We're going in the reverse order here. Okay, if I want to have a closing, I first need to have a contract. And then before I could have a contract, what do I have to do to have a contract? Well, before I have a contract, let's say we're talking about a buyer here. Before I have a contract with a buyer, I have to show that buyer homes. I have to show that buyer enough homes until they find one it is that they like. And then what do I do before I show the buyer homes? Okay, and you see how I'm continually going further and further in reverse to where we are today, where let's say you're brand new, you don't have any clients yet, and you're trying to find out how to get to that closing process. It's just like if you ever worked on one of the mazes in elementary school or whenever, that you've done these mazes, and if you've ever tried solving them from the end, that's like the cheating method of finding the right answer, of finding the solution to these mazes, finding the solution to them is going in reverse, tracing out from the end to the beginning. And you could do the exact same thing with your business. This makes it so much easier and so much clearer when you're tracing back from, okay, I want to get to a closing. Now, before I go to the closing, I have to have a contract. And before I have a contract, I have to have an appointment to show homes. And before I have appointments to show homes, I have to have maybe you're doing a consultation appointment before that, and I have to do the consultation appointment before that, then I have to have a lead, and then in order to get the lead, I have to do this. I have to knock on doors, I have to do cold calls, I have to do an advertisement, I have to hold an open house, I have to do all of these different things. There's a lot of ways to kind of get people into that funnel, but once they get into that funnel, they're following along. Okay, got the contact, they've contacted me, so they're the lead. I've set the appointment to meet with them, and then I've set an appointment to show them a home, and then I've showed them enough homes, and now we've got a home under contract, and now we're just going through this process of making sure everything goes according to plan to the contract so we can have the closing. But now reverse engineering that process. You should know your process inside and out. Going forward, going backward, so you know, okay, this is the next logical step. When you know what that next logical step is, really just talking about going forward, we're not even talking about reversing this yet, you're going to seem more confident and qualified with your clients. When you know what happens next, that instills a little confidence in them. When they say, okay, well, what's next? That's a good question. I don't know. I've never done one of these before, so let me talk to like my broker or somebody that maybe I'll watch some YouTube videos, find out what happens next in this process. You say that or anything close to that to a client, you're losing all credibility whatsoever. So kind of just knowing what those steps are one after another, that's something in and of itself, but that's where most agents stop. They just know, oh, I have to do this, to do this, to do this, to do this, and to get a closing. Okay, but now let's reverse engineer this process, put it in reverse, and then figure out, okay, before I do all that, now I'm where I stand today, and now I have to, and this is where you want to start tracking and measuring, and that's going to be my next tip that I've got for you. It's never too easy to track and measure your success. And that kind of goes hand in hand with this reverse engineering the sale process. Because if you know how many contacts it takes to get a lead, to get an appointment, to get a contract, to get a closing, when you're reverse engineering that whole process and you're tracking what your metrics are of how many contacts it takes to get this many leads, to get this many appointments, to get this many contracts, to get this many closings, you might need to talk to 20 different people before you have one closing. You need to know what your metrics are so that way you can make this predictable. So that way when you say, I want to have 2 closings this month, you know how many people it is that you need to talk to, how many appointments you need to have, how many contracts it is that you need to write to get that number of closings. So that's the tracking and measuring aspect of this as well. We're going to take another quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're talking about some tips to help you be successful as a new agent in real estate. So stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Chrismo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. If you're interested in starting or enhancing your real estate career, make sure you give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. You can also check us out at tampaschool.com. That's tampaschool.com. And you can actually even find recorded episodes of all of our episodes of Ask the Instructor. We're coming up on almost a year of episodes of Ask the Instructor, so this one alone, there's probably close to 50 of these hour-long segments you could watch. On State of Real Estate, same thing, another 50 that we've got there that you could go through and learn a lot of stuff about the real estate industry, whether you're thinking about a career in real estate, you just started your career in real estate, or maybe you're 20 years into the business. There's always something new to learn. And what we're talking about today are the tips for new agents. So number one, most important out of everything is finding good training, because with good training, that's going to teach you for all these other things to fall into place. If it is good training, then you'll learn about it, having a mentor, staying focused, prioritizing, reverse engineering the sale process, tracking and measuring, and all of that falls into place if you've got good training. So again, that's the most important thing. That's the number one out of everything. And this is going to help you when you think about this. And maybe you've went through the pre-licensing course. Think of how much you learned in the pre-licensing course. And that's just the very tippy top of the iceberg. There's so much more to learn in the real estate industry to really grow your real estate business. I mean, overall, it's a pretty simple business. You're helping people buy homes. It gets complicated, but you could reverse engineer, learn that sales process going forward, reverse the sales process, figure out how many appointments it takes to get how many contracts, to get how many closing, know what your metrics are, so that way you're able to effectively plan for your business. And as you start to spend money advertising or investing in any part of your business, it's crucial and essential to be able to track and measure not just the money you have going in and the money you have coming out, but also the actions that you're taking and what results those actions yield. So that's where the tracking and measuring is going to help you with that process. So another tip I have for new agents. We're talking maybe a little bit more practical here with some of these and a little bit more tactical. Hold open houses. So holding open houses. What's the benefit to holding open houses, and why would I tell you to hold open houses? Well, holding an open house, it's really a great place to not only find new clients. That's really the number one reason, and that should be reason enough for you to hold open houses. But especially as a new agent, it's going to help you really get an understanding of people looking to buy a house. It's going to help build your communication skills if you don't have communication skills already. And if you already have communication skills, it's going to help hone your real estate communication skills. It doesn't matter how good of a communicator it is that you are. If you're new to real estate, you're going to have trouble communicating until you've practiced it a little bit. So the open houses give you great opportunity to practice. It gives you great opportunity to show clients homes. You've got all these random people wandering into the open house, and it's your job here to communicate with them, exhibit the property, to show the property and show it in its best light. And it really gives you a whole lot of chance to not only grow your presence and help gain clients, but at the same time help grow your skills as well. So open houses are going to be something I absolutely recommend. Now, another tip. This is called time blocking. And with time blocking, what you do with time blocking is that you're blocking your activities together. And this is something that's going to help make you more effective. If you jump from one thing to another thing, 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 all in the course of 15 minutes, you might have started 10 or 12 different things, but how many things got finished? How many things got done? Maybe one, if anything. So by time blocking, it's saying, okay, maybe do, let's say now in real estate, especially when you're first starting out and you're kind of the one-man band, you're doing everything, that's where you have to not only do the sales side, but the paperwork side, the advertising side, the prospecting side, all of these different elements, you're wearing all these different hats. So especially when you're first starting out, the accounting side, that's another one too, it's important, is blocking this off. So priority number one, again, we're going to prioritize. The thing that's most important is generating new business. Maybe that's cold calling people, or maybe following up on leads that you have that haven't showed any appointments yet. Because look, think about this question, and this should seem simple, and it is. If you have somebody that contacts you that says, hey, I'm interested in buying a house, but I'm not ready to do it yet, and you say, oh, great. If you don't ever contact them again, then you're not moving that relationship forward. And they're very likely what to happen is to find somebody else who is willing to invest in creating and building that relationship with them. So the lead generating and business generating, that's, again, number one on the priority list, because that helps everything else fall into place. Just like training helps everything fall into place here, generating business helps everything fall into place otherwise in your business. So that's number one, what you should be doing is generating business. Now, you want to find the most effective time to do this. It depends on what it is that you're doing. If you're door knocking, it's probably not going to do you too good to go door knocking in the middle of the afternoon on a Tuesday. Most people are probably at work, or people that don't work, maybe stay-at-home moms or whatever that may be, stay-at-home dads. Maybe they're out picking up kids from school or running errands or who knows what. So that's probably not the best time to do that. Maybe instead you're doing that in the early evening before it gets dark out, but while people are maybe just getting home, have already been home for maybe a little bit, that's the best time to do that. And at the same time, maybe cold calling people. If you're cold calling people, when's the best time to do that? Well, if maybe on their lunch hour, maybe 12 to 1, maybe before they go to work, 8 to 9 a.m., maybe after they get home from work, 6 to 8 p.m., something there. You want to find what works for you, and that's going back to tracking and measuring your business, keeping track of your business and measuring what actually works. If you're making phone calls at various times of the day, then you're not time blocking. If you know the most effective time to make calls is between 6 and 8 p.m., or that's the best time to door knock, or whatever it is that you're doing that you're doing to generate your business, do that in that hour, and only do that in that hour or that 2 hours or however long the time period may be. Don't try to make a call and do some other things when that's prime phone call time. Make the phone calls during that time. But then at the same time, these times that are not optimal for the lead generating, that's a good time to take care of these other things it is that you need to do. Maybe you've got some paperwork that needs to be done that you need to go through, or maybe enter stuff into your to your digital system, .loop, transaction desk, whatever that may be, doing that side of things, or maybe whatever type of administrative things, that's another thing you want to kind of cluster together. Maybe you're working on your advertising, because with advertising and marketing, it's not just something you do once, it's something you do continuously that's going to take lots of time and effort to maintain that process. So again, block that off. And so you should have your schedule be all of these little blocks. Okay, this time I'm doing, let's say, lead generation. During this time, I'm doing marketing. Writing up marketing. During this time, I am, let's say, doing paperwork. So that way you're blocking this all together. If you mix and sporadically throw these all together, you're going to feel overwhelmed, and you're probably not going to end up getting any of this stuff done, or a very minimal amount. By clustering it together, it makes you more effective. Think of the assembly line type of process and that type of thing. That's what you're doing when you're blocking this stuff together. You're okay, Phone call, phone call, phone call, phone call, phone call, phone call, phone call. Okay, done with phone calls. Marketing, 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 marketing. Okay, done with that. Now paperwork time. Now maybe appointment time. Try to cluster your appointments together. Every part of your business where you have to do some of these tasks repetitively, don't make a phone call and say, okay, great, I'll get to look it on the MLS right away for you. And then after you make that phone call, hop on the MLS and don't make any of your other phone calls. And then once you're done with the MLS, then go back and make a second phone call and then go back to the MLS and then make another phone call and then go do other work and then another phone call and then go do some other work. That might seem like the logical way that you would approach this. Okay, I told them I was going to go search something in the MLS. Let me go ahead and do that now before I forget. No, write that down that you need to do that, but then block that off. Maybe you have a particular time to do MLS stuff or whatever this may be. Again, this is all reflective on how it is that you operate your business. And then when you're blocking stuff off like this is when you want to grow and expand your business, that you could bring in other real estate licensees, or maybe bring in an unlicensed assistant or whoever it is that you want to add to your team. Once you've got this all blocked out like that, and these are all isolated, that makes it so easy to transfer that, a lot easier. It still will take some work, but it's so much easier to transfer those duties and responsibilities to another person when they're blocked off like this. We're going to take another quick commercial break, but when we come back, we've got some more tips for you as a new agent to make you successful. So stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Chrismo, and the show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. If you're interested in starting or enhancing your real estate career, make sure you give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. Also check us out at tampaschool.com. And while you're at it, say hi to everyone tuning in on Instagram. Say hi to Facebook and YouTube and the Success Center. Now that you guys are all acquainted, let's go ahead and get back to the show and follow us on all of the social media channels. Whichever one it is that you use, follow us there. Search for Tampa School of Real Estate. You'll find us. That way you don't miss out on any of these nuggets of information. Now, another one, and this is kind of what we're talking about in this last process, this last tip here about kind of time blocking and breaking this stuff up. And that leads to our next tip of systematize. Not sure if I'm spelling that right, but you get the idea. Systematize. Make systems. Make yourself have systems. And did want to give a quick shout out to Deborah Herr and David Cribbs. Thanks for tuning in. Also Vince Curtin, thanks for tuning in, as well as thanks for commenting and sharing the stream with this. You guys have my permission to share this with whoever it is that you want, so definitely do that. But about systematizing. you want to come up with systems. And that's kind of what we're doing with reverse engineering the sales process here. We've got our sales system. Okay, we want to get to know this going forward as well as going backwards and what it takes to do this, to do this, to do this, to do this. But every step and every part of your business, you need to systematize. Businesses are really two things, especially in a service business. It's systems and people. Systems and people, people and systems. Those are your two things in a business. The systems the business uses and the people that are running those systems, that are in charge of those systems. And especially in this day and age where so much can be automated and done automatically for you with technology that exists today, you want to take advantage of that and systematize these things. Back in the days before computers, and there's still agents that are out there to do this today, just maybe they don't like computers, they don't want to deal with it, or maybe that's just the way they've always done this. But before the computer age, when people want to keep track of their clients, they'd maybe have one of those little folders, those little binding accordion type of folder type of deals, and they would just put little folders in there for each client, and they would shuffle them around for usually there's a lot of different ways they used to kind of manage these here, but they'd put like a 30-day system, and then they'd move clients up as they need to talk to them and move them further out when they don't need to talk to them, and that's how this used to be done. Now we have these beautiful systems called CRMs that can be very intimidating, they could be very expensive, and they could be very time wasting at the same time. So be careful with that. Be careful with the systems. You want to find a system that's simple and easy to use that helps your business. That's the whole purpose of having these systems, is making your business run smoother, making it possible for you to do more deals, making it possible for you to scale your business. That's what the systems are meant to do. So by systematizing your business, and this doesn't just mean using online software or anything like that, that just means having a certain way it is that you do things. To systemize the layout of your day through time blocking. So being systematic about what you're doing, and trying to be systematic about everything. If you go into anything leaving it up for kind of chance, if you don't have something figured out, some sort of system of how you handle this, you can't grow and scale your business. You could probably handle that in the moment there, but if you want to start building a team, if you want to bring on more agents, if you want to have an assistant or anything like that, or if you just want to make your life easier, that's where you want to try to systemize your business as much as possible. Now, another tip I want to throw in here that's going to make the list. We'll call this one Sell or Be Sold. And this is a concept, there's actually a great book about it by Grant Cardone. You should definitely check it out. This concept of sell or be sold. And the tip I really have for you is don't be sold by the telemarketers that are going to be calling you from Zillow, from Realtor.com, from AdWorks, from all these places. If you already have a real estate license, you're familiar with them. Doesn't matter whether you're on the do not call list or not. You're going to get calls from these different vendors, these different companies that are trying to sell you their product or sell you their service. You're constantly being sold to anytime you're running a business, especially a real estate business. A real estate business, it's a very specialized business. It's a business that's fairly universal across the entire planet as far as the overall process of what you're doing. And it's a large industry, so there's a lot of vendors that can target that industry very easily. And you'll get calls, you'll get emails, you'll get all kinds of things of these different vendors trying to sell you these things. And sometimes these will be good for your business and benefit your business. Definitely, absolutely not all the time. Because if you're not following through with any of these systems, if it's not something organically that you wanted, and that's why I like to say sell or be sold. You want to focus on selling. You don't want to spend any time being sold. You only want to focus on the selling side of things. You're not in business to be sold things. You're not in business to answer phone calls. I get a phone call, as soon as I can identify some sort of telemarketer, I just hang up on them. It might have been something that would benefit one of my businesses. It might have been something that would make my life easier. But when I want to seek out something that's going to make my life easier, I'm going to seek it out. When I want to seek out a particular type of advertising, or I want to seek out a particular service, I might remember those people that have called, so maybe it's still benefit to them that I'm calling, that I heard the name of their company when they called me. But it's about me and my business and fitting into my plan. Make those vendors part of your plan. But the way you go about doing that is you seek them out when you want to add them to your business. When they're calling you, trying to sell you advertising or selling you whatever system, or it could be a CRM or anything like that, and these could be good things for your business. But you've got this whole kind of cloud of judgment when you're being sold. So before you go into any sort of relationship like this, any sort of vendor relationship where you're maybe paying for advertising or paying for some sort of product or anything like that, you want to ask yourself, okay, is this something that fits in with my plan? If it fits in with your plan and it's something that you could get behind, then go for it. But very rarely do those ever two align. You might have a plan for holding open houses and doing door knocking and all these types of things. Then you get a call from some advertising telemarketer saying, hey, you're doing door knocking and cold calling and open houses. Oh, what are you doing wasting your time doing that? Don't you know you could just pay me $100 a lead? Think of how many leads you could get when you're paying me $100 a lead. And you're like, oh, that sounds good. And then you do that, but then you're not truly behind it. You don't understand that system. All that time it took that you invested in understanding open houses and understanding cold calling or whatever it was that your plan was, and you've just changed your plans just like that because they said it was a good idea. And they sound very convincing, and you're very vulnerable when you're new in the real estate industry to these sales pitches. Even if they're not good for your business. They may be good for your business, but there's so many ways to make money, and there's so many ways to gain clients out in the real estate world that you have to come up with a plan on your own, and you're selling your plan to the world. You don't want to be sold into their plan. You don't want to be part of Zillow's plan or part of Realtor.com's plan. You want them to be part of your plan if necessary. If that's part of your plan, if you say, okay, well, I want to do some door knocking and open houses and prospecting, but then once I have enough money, then I'll invest in advertising on one of these platforms. And at that point, that's okay if you want to do that, but don't let them speed that process up and skip a couple of steps just because they want to make a commission check for selling you advertising. So again, keep that in mind. Sell or be sold. Just don't choose any vendor that just calls you up and convinces you that it's a good part of this. And I want to add one more to this here. We'll leave this as an 11 tip list, kind of an odd number. I like it. It's different. So our 11th tip is, we'll just call this referrals and past clients. So referrals and past clients. What most real estate agents do is they forget about their past clients. They forget about the people that they've spent time and money nurturing them and building the relationship, and they get the initial sale done. They get that first sale done, but then once that first sale happens, all right, see you later, thanks, good job, enjoy your house, see you in the next life, and that's it. You don't want to forget about your past clients. The National Association of Realtors says every 5 to 7 years, people buy. People buy a house. People not only buy, but if they already own a house, they're selling the house. They're selling the house they currently own and buying another house. That happens every 5 to 7 years. And yes, that's a long time to wait. That's a long time to wait for more business. You can't rely on that 5 years as your only source of business. But once you've got enough clients stacked up, those 5 years start to kind of start happening. Oh yeah, that's all right. Just finished that person 5 years ago. Just did this person 5 years ago. Just did this person 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And this creates this repeat business. So you always want to nurture your past clients. And how you're able to monetize this in the meantime is referrals. So with referrals, they're not going to buy for 5 to 7 years, but they might have a friend or family member who would be really keen on their opinion of who's a good real estate professional. If you gave your past clients a great experience, they should have no problem referring you out to their friends and family. And now these referrals aren't just going to come to you because everyone's thinking about their own priorities. You need to be in charge. It's your duty and your responsibility for success. So you need to ask for those referrals. When you're following up with these clients after you've done a sale with them, after you've closed on a house, and really throughout this whole process, you should be constantly asking for referrals. Hey, you've got anybody that you know that needs to buy a house? You've got anybody that needs to sell their house? You've got anybody that needs that wants to invest in property? Do you have anybody that wants to rent a property? All these different ways you have to make money. These referrals really, they cost you nothing. There's no dollar cost to this. It's really just the cost of providing your clients a good experience, which you're supposed to be doing anyways. If you want to have a good, successful business, giving your clients a good experience usually is a big part of that, especially in a service industry like real estate. So take care of your past clients and they'll take care of you if you ask them to take care of you and ask them for referrals. And stay in contact with them for 5 to 7 years after this, so that way when they're buying or selling another home again, that they remember who you are, and they say, oh, that's right, yeah, John Charismo, that was my guy. I got to talk to him again. I've got to call him up because he did such a great job helping us buy this house. I'm sure he'll do a great job selling it as well. And if you don't talk to them for 5 to 7 years, they won't have any idea who it was that you are. They would have forgotten you completely, even only after 5 years. That's a long time. They say, oh, yeah, that realtor we had, he was good, but God, what was his name? Yeah, all right, well, whatever. Let's just call somebody else, get the yellow pages out, or let's get Google out, or let's get whatever to go search for an agent and go on the profiles online and all that other stuff. So before we tune out for today, I want to just recap what it is that we talked about, what we covered in today's episode. And if you missed any part of this, this is a great episode, which is a lot of really great tips for you as a new agent. The number one most important, because that helps you learn all this other stuff, is finding good training. That should be, once you first have your license, there's really 2 things you need to seek out. Clients, so you can get some business, but at the same time, and maybe even before that, if you'd like to be a little bit more proactive about this stuff, good training. That's most important, finding good training. Number 2, finding a personal mentor, somebody that's able to help you fill in the gaps of this training. Number 3, staying focused. And what do you stay focused on? Well, what you've prioritized as the most important. So you have to prioritize what it is that you're doing daily and then stay focused. Those two kind of go hand in hand here. So remember, prioritize what's most important, training, getting business, and then everything else kind of falls into place after that, and then stay focused. Reverse engineer your sales process. Know your sales process going forward and also know your sales process going backwards. Reverse engineer the sales process so you could track and measure your business. So you could say, okay, I have to meet this many people to get a lead. I have to talk to 10 people to get 1 lead. If you know that, then what do you need to do to get 1 lead? Go talk to 10 people. If you've tracked and measured it, okay, if I talk to 10 people, I should usually get 1 lead. Your numbers may be different than that. This depends on what it is that you're saying, who you're talking to, and so many different things. But when you know, okay, I could talk to 10 people and I'll get a lead, now you know to go talk to 10 people. Oh, I really need a contract. Oh, well, in order to get a contract, I got to have an appointment and I've got to have a lead. So what do I do to get a lead? Go talk to 10 people. And then maybe you need 4 leads to get an appointment. So maybe you're not just talking to 10 people, maybe you go talk to 40 people. You're like, okay, I got to talk to 40 people so I can get 4 leads so I could get 1 appointment. But then maybe you need 2 appointments, 2 different clients that you have on appointments to get to a contract. Maybe half of your contracts, half of your appointments turn into a contract. So now it's just not 40 people you've got to talk to, it's 80 people you've got to talk to. That gets you, what were you saying, 20 leads. And out of those 20 leads, you're getting, what would that be, 4? Yeah, 4 appointments, and out of those 4 appointments, you're getting 2 contracts, and you end up getting 1 closing. So get this all figured out. Get it on paper. Don't just keep this information in your head. Get it on paper. Put it on an Excel sheet. Put it on whatever it is that makes sense to you, but keep track of these numbers. So that way you can reverse engineer the sales process, and you know how many people you need to talk to end up getting a closing. Hold open houses. Holding open houses is a great place to find prospects, but at the same time, it's a great place to also hone your real estate skills. It's a great place to make yourself sharper. So definitely hold open houses. Block your time. Try to block this off. Okay, I'm going to do lead generation here for a couple hours, then I'm going to do marketing for a couple hours, then I'm going to do my paperwork for an hour, then I'm going to search the MLS for a couple hours. And that's going to help make you most effective by blocking this off into certain chunks like that. And what you're doing there, you're basically systematizing your business. If you have a routine, every day you come in, you do this, you do this, you do that, then you do that, and then you're done with your day, that's systematization. And you could also systemize your business through technology. You could get a CRM system. You could get online advertising, a lot of systems that are involved with that. A lot of ways to kind of automate your business and kind of have steps of what it is that you need to do, and that's systematization. Number 10, don't fall victim to the vendors. Sell or be sold. You need to be out there working your plan and selling your plan. And when people call you saying, hey, you should buy this advertising because that's going to help make you successful, they're really kind of clever, we'll call it, for lack of a more derogatory term. They're clever, a little bit manipulative with some of this stuff, and they'll say, hey, John, are you still selling residential real estate in Tampa? And of course, I'm going to say, oh yeah, of course I'm selling residential real estate in Tampa. Where do you want to buy? Oh, well, I'm not actually buying a house. I'm selling advertising. Click. I don't want to talk to you. If I want to buy advertising, I'm going to go buy advertising. I don't need to be called to be told I need to buy advertising, and you don't need to either. So don't fall victim to these sales calls that are trying to sell you, and all this other stuff. If you don't have a plan, that's maybe better than doing nothing. But if you've got a plan, you're working your plan, you don't need those sales calls telling you how to run your business. And then finally, last one, and this is really important, especially for your long-term success, take care of your past clients, and the past clients will take care of you. Every 5 to 7 years, they're going to end up buying and selling a home, so that's 2 commissions you get right there. And along the way, you could ask for referrals. You should be asking for referrals. You be saying, hey, who do you know that needs to buy a house? Who do you know that wants to sell their house? Who do you know that wants to invest in real estate? And get that information. And if you provided them a great service, they won't have any turn of thought of saying, oh yeah, this is my friend Bill, and he's been thinking about selling a house. I was telling him about you actually, so why don't you give him a call? So ask for referrals. That's everything I've got for you guys today. We talk about a lot of these here in other episodes of either State of Real Estate or Ask the Instructor, so make sure you go on our YouTube, on our Facebook, on our Success Center. Just search for Tampa School of Real Estate, and you'll be able to find a lot of these videos where we spend almost an hour going more in depth, maybe just on referrals, how to get more referrals and things like that. That's going back to this good training, and that's free training you guys could kind of take on. Like I said, a lot of training you'll have to pay for, but in the same time, especially in this day and age, there's a lot of training available for free. So definitely take advantage of all of the videos that we have. I could vouch for them. That's Ask the Instructor every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Make sure you're subscribed and you've got the notifications turned on so you can catch us every time we go live. And then also State of Real Estate every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time live. And that one's more about growing your real estate business. And of course, if you're interested in starting or enhancing your real estate career, make sure you give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. Or check us out online at tampaschool.com. Thank you guys for tuning in this today, and I will see you Friday for State of Real Estate.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Charismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.